He looked back at Potter and distracted himself by staring at Potter's pajama bottoms. They were white red with polka dots, too large for Potter's skinny legs and lean waist, and looked about 100 years old. The tee he wore was better fitted and seemed brand new, judging by the vibrant colors of Swedish short snout on the front. The dragon roared brilliant blue flames and looked as furious as Potter did. However, Potter had stopped looking furious for the moment and instead looked down at his sleepwear self-consciously. Draco realized he had been staring. He looked away and found Goyle in the crowd. Unlike the rest of them, Goyle was fully dressed in yesterday's clothing and pale as parchment. He looked to be in no shape to answer questions. "What happened?" Draco asked him anyway. Weasley answered, "We've been trying to wake you for at least 15 minutes. You didn't move a muscle. You were barely breathing. And that cloud of yours covered half of the room, and shot lightning bolts everywhere," Ernie added. No one corrected him, so Draco assumed he hadn't been exaggerating. He wondered whether they expected him to apologize. "The calming draught was supposed to help," Draco repeated stubbornly. "In small doses," Granger said in a quiet tone, as though she didn't want to upset him with her knowledge. Draco knew how the calming draught worked, too. One was supposed to be careful with it. Drink too little, it does nothing at all. Drink too much, it's more likely to upset than calm. But drinking the whole vial seemed like a good idea at the time. Draco just wanted to go back to sleep. It had helped him earlier. Draco rubbed his cheek. It felt warm and sore. "Did someone slap me?" He glared at Potter. "It was Neville," Potter said promptly. "Oi," Longbottom cried. "It was Hermione." Potter's lips twitched. "I was trying to be a gentleman." Granger was apparently fascinated with her nails and studying them with careful interest. Of course it was her, Draco thought. Granger always did like slapping him. Irritated, Draco tried to stand up, but Potter pushed him back down. "Bully," Draco spat. "Careless idiot," Potter shot back. Draco sneered. "Your concern is touching, Potter." Potter pressed his lips so tightly together he reminded Draco of McGonagall. Madame Pomfrey appeared then and interrupted their glaring match. She shooed everyone back to their dormitories, which was an amusing sight to behold, and then rounded on Draco, which was anything but amusing. To say that she was upset would be like saying Hagrid was somewhat tall. She accepted no excuses and all but dragged Draco to the hospital wing at the wand point. Draco was half relieved. The solitude of hospital wing was more appealing than the thought of facing his classmates again. They were a loud, noisy bunch and likely to panic, form ridiculous conclusions. He spent the rest of the day in the hospital wing, wrapped in a warm cloak and a blanket, and huddled in a comfortable chair near the fireplace. The house elves brought him food, and Pomfrey gave him a fresh blanket the moment the old one damped. Goyle showed up after lunch to keep him company, and Draco took the opportunity to ask him what exactly had happened back in common room. Apparently Goyle had woken up to a downpour. The cloud had swelled up and covered several square meters. He had tried to wake up Draco, and when he failed he had shouted for help. "Potter was there so fast. I swear I thought he had apparated." He saw the empty vial right away and went livid. "He's the one who woke up everyone else by shouting your name." And he then sent Abbott to gate Pomfrey and told all of us to step back. And bloody hell, did we step back? He can be really scary, that one. He couldn't wake you up though, and he got struck by lightning twice. Then Granger slapped you, and that seemed to work better. And then Potter yelled at you some more and shook you, and you finally woke up. Good thing you did. I think Granger was getting ready to slap you again. Goyle paused. Why did you drink all that calming draught? I thought it would help, Draco said defensively. But you know everything there is to know about potions, and Granger says you should have realized it could have ill effects in large... Can we change subject? Draco didn't particularly want to know what the Gryffindors had been saying about him once Draco had left. He could imagine those discussions fairly accurately on his own. Goyle nodded demurely. This will help, he announced suddenly, and took out a half-eaten honey Duke's chocolate. I nicked it from one of the Potter's crates. I hear the butterbeer bottles are filled with fire whiskey, but I couldn't find those. Potter must have hidden them. Draco shook his head. It's fine, you can keep it. Goyle grinned and happily bit a huge chunk of chocolate. Will you be at the party? He asked, around his chocolate mouthful. I doubt Pomfrey will let me go. Draco hoped that was true. He didn't feel like partying. He was wrong, however. Millicent stopped by around 7 and convinced Pomfrey to let him go. We'll take proper care of him, she promised, and send him back the moment he tries to swallow something he shouldn't. Draco considered claiming he felt unwell, but that meant Pomfrey would poke him with her wand for the next hour. Besides, his classmate had fire whiskey. He ended up following Millie to the tower, hoping that fire whiskey wasn't deemed as something he wouldn't be allowed to swallow. The sounds of laughter and the music echoed through the hallway as Millie recited next week's homework for the centaur. Draco suddenly felt truly unwell. The thought of watching everyone get drunk and having fun sounded like a torture, and of course they wouldn't let him drink fire whiskey. He wouldn't let himself drink it if he were them. Getting drunk would be a stupid thing to do, all things considered. He might end up drowning everyone after all. At least Ernie would be happy. To be continued.